I have to start this all over again. 1822. This is something that, and I started a video, and I might be able to put both videos together. And it's chapter 18, verse 22 in Leviticus. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind, it is an abomination. Neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith. Neither shall any woman stand before beast to lie down thereto, it is confusion. Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these things the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you, and the land is defiled. Therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomiteth out her inhabitants. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you. So it's not only addressing men lying with men, but it's also saying don't do stuff with animals, women shouldn't do stuff. Neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith, neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereto, it is confusion. The entire verse of Leviticus 18, I'm going to read that real quick, because I've had the whole men shall not lie with men thing explained to me, and that is one of the ways. Doing orgies, same-sex practices, were things that they used to commit worship to other gods back then. Kind of like people do yoga, and they say, oh, it doesn't mean anything, it's just meditation, it's just... That yoga was originally designed to worship a certain deity, and you doing it, whether you mean to or not, are doing those poses that mean that thing to that deity. You are putting your body and spirit in alignment with that deity. Especially when you've been warned and told by people, hey, that's what this is. That's what this is. And you still do it. So chapter 18, the entire thing. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. After the doings of the land of Egypt, wherein you dwelt, shall ye not do, and after the doings of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, shall ye not do, neither shall ye walk in their ordinances. Meaning, like, don't do the things of the people that are, bad. Ye shall do my judgments, and keep my ordinances, to walk therein. I am the Lord your God. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgment. Who's allergic to the word? Be gone, demon. My cat sneezed. Ye shall do my judgments and keep my ordinances, to walk therein. I am the Lord your God. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. I am the Lord. Meaning, like, don't just say that you're going to agree with this. Don't just say that you line up with it. Do it. A lot of Christians have problems with that. They will say, don't lie, but then they'll look at their kid and go, yeah, Santa's real. Anyway. Ye shall live in them. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him, to uncover their nakedness. I am the Lord. The nakedness of thy father, or nakedness of thy mother, shalt thou not uncover. She is thy mother. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. The nakedness of thy father's wife shalt thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. The nakedness of thy sister, the daughter of thy father, or daughter of thy mother, whether she is born at home or born abroad, even their nakedness thou shalt not uncover. The nakedness of thy son's daughter, or of thy daughter's daughter, even thy nakedness thou shalt not uncover, for theirs is thine own nakedness. Thy nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter, begotten of thy father, she is thy sister. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister. She is thy father's near kinswoman. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister, for she is thy mother's near kinswoman. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's brother. Thou shalt not approach to his wife. She is thine aunt. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law. She is thy son's wife. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. It is thy brother's nakedness. Meaning that, you're supposed to stay covered, but also this is something a lot of people like to defeat modesty with. Your body was only intended for you, God, and your spouse to see. And anyone sent nudes has also been wrong. Anyone who sent pictures of themselves in their underwear, they're wrong. So a lot of people are guilty of this, but a lot of people, good news is you can be forgiven of this, okay? I'm not judging you. I'm not perfect. Everyone's walked around with cleavage. Everyone's had a butt cheek pop out of a pair of shorts. We've all had moments of immodesty. But it's the point of some people making an entire career out of showing their body. Or if it is thy brother's nakedness. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter, neither shalt thou take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness, for they are her near kinswomen. It is wickedness. Neither shalt thou take a wife to her sister to vex her. To uncover her nakedness beside the other in her lifetime. Also, thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness, as long as she is put apart for her uncleanness. Moreover, thou shalt not lie carnally with thy neighbor's wife to defile thyself with her. Don't cheat on somebody. Don't cheat on people. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. So I think basically what that means there is, if you're a guy and you're having sex with somebody that isn't your wife, or you're doing it, or maybe they're talking about masturbation here, because it says, let any of thy seed pass through the fire of Molech. Oh, I know what they mean. Don't have a baby just to sacrifice it into the fire of Molech. Neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination. It is abomination. Neither shalt thou lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith. And I already read this part. Lie with any beast to defile thyself therewith. Neither shall any woman stand before a beast to lie down thereto. It is confusion. Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things. Meaning, don't walk around naked. Don't cheat on people. Don't show yourself. Don't expose other people. There could be more to it than that. I'm just not great at interpreting things sometimes. Defile not yourselves with any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled. Meaning, when this happens, you are defiling yourself. You're also defiling your family. You're defiling and you could be leading other people astray when you're doing this. And also, the way this was explained was that when people were doing this back then, they were doing it to worship other gods. And I think I said that earlier in this video. And that's why it's such an abomination, because even if you aren't doing it for that intention, you are still giving glory to that other god, because that other god wants you to do things that are not of the god. That other deity, that demon, that whatever, knows that you don't align with their beliefs. You don't know what you're doing when you're doing it. But they don't care, because you're giving them glory anyway, because you're doing something that God told you not to do. And if you're going against God, you might as well be worshiping them. Mind you, I've sinned, I've fallen short of the glory of God. I'm not judging anybody. I'm just telling you why it's such a big thing. Defile not ye yourselves in any of these things, for in all these the nations are defiled, which I cast out before you, and the land is defiled. Therefore I do visit the iniquity thereof upon it, and the land itself vomiteth out her inhabitants. Ye shall therefore keep my statutes and my judgments, and shall not commit any of these abominations, neither any of your own nation, nor any stranger that sojourneth among you. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled. That the land spew not you out also when ye defile it, as it spewed out the nations that were before you. For whatsoever shall commit any of these abominations, even the souls that commit them shall be cut off from among their people. Therefore shall ye keep mine ordinances, that ye commit not any one of these abominable customs, which were committed before you, and that ye defile not yourselves therein. I am the Lord your God. And I don't know what made me go on to that, because I have these other verses I wanted to discuss, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to talk about these verses. And then I saw Leviticus, that verse came in, and I was like, okay. But I couldn't figure out a way to look it up in the back of the Bible, so I had to pause the video, which meant I had to close the screen out for my camera, so that's why I'm starting with Leviticus instead of these other verses, which I initially wanted to start talking about the whole Epstein thing, which I guess it does have to do with that, because they're sacrificing babies and killing babies and stuff like that too, Molech, and it mentions Molech, and Molech was this thing that they sacrificed babies to even back then. So for people to sit there and say that God isn't real, when God knew that people were going to continue to do this because they did it back then, and then we have these people that are going to come in my comment section and say, if God is so good, why doesn't he get rid of all the evil in the world? Because you and I would be gone. Have you ever lied? I've lied. Have you ever sinned? Have you ever done anything that was a sin? Because I have. Anything that isn't good or godly is bad. It's evil. And if he took all of the evil, that would mean the little tiny evil things that you and I, as humans with flawed judgment, because we think we're really not hurting anybody, but we're hurting ourselves, because people think, oh, a white lie isn't that big of a deal. How long until that white lie that you keep telling yourself over and over again, or it's a different lie, but you keep lying over and over again because you think, oh, lies are harmless, I'm not hurting anybody but myself. Eventually you become, and this is just a small example, right? Because all sin is equal, but lies don't seem as bad as murder when you're looking at it, right? And so people think that lying isn't that big of a deal. How many times do you have to lie to yourself before you become desensitized to the fact that you're lying, and eventually you can't even tell the truth from a lie? You can't even tell the truth from a lie. You start to look around and you go, was that a lie when I said that, or was that true? So there you go. There's one. But we're going to talk about, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. This is Ephesians 6:12. And I'm not sure exactly when this was written, exactly when this was foretold. But this is back in the Bible times, which means that God knew that these things were going to be being done. God was telling us, hey, you're not fighting against somebody who's smiling and shaking your hand, who's looking you in the eye and telling you the bad things they're going to do. They are doing it behind closed doors in places like Epstein's Island, or in an office somewhere where they're making secret deals, or even something like a music artist that sells their soul so that they can make music that gets you to follow a bad path. That's the truth. You're fighting against spiritual stuff. And a lot of people don't want to hear that because it scares them. Because they think that they can't. They think that they can't. And you can't. That's true. You can't. You have Jesus. You have Jesus. All you have to do is call upon him. And the amount of testimonies that exist of people who are struggling and they feel like they're being attacked demonically, and they say the name of Jesus and it vanishes, it weakens and it goes away, and they feel instant peace. And you're going to sit there and tell me, especially with the peace that I've felt during times of turmoil, when I call upon Jesus and I ask him to help me. I've had times like that. I have. And for me, it was mostly emotional battles and lies that the enemy was telling me in my head. But I'll call on Jesus and I'll talk to Jesus. And I feel an immense peace that I would not feel from anything else on this earth. Even other people. Even another person who wants to be there for me. And it's not because they're not doing a good enough job being there for me. It's because our Heavenly Father is what is supposed to be there for us. That he's there for us. A lot of people don't want to open up. They don't want to believe there's something bigger than a human being out there that's intelligent and omniscient and omnipotent. And some people say that they've prayed and never had an interaction. But it says in the Bible to pray without ceasing. And God can tell if you don't believe. He can tell if you're praying with half your heart. He can tell if you're praying insincerely. He can tell if you're praying just to pray because there's a room full of people around you and you want to fit in and you want to pray with them. And you don't want them to know that you don't believe what they believe. He can tell. He's omniscient and omniscient and omnipotent. You want to get closer to God, you have to read the Bible. You have to read the Bible and you have to sit in silence with Him. And you have to quit being afraid that someone's going to walk in and catch you praying. You have to be afraid you have to stop being afraid that someone's going to walk in and mock you for believing in God. That's what a lot of people have. They're afraid that someone's going to walk in and say, "What are you doing?" And when they do, you look at them and say, "I'm saving my fucking soul here." And I'm not permitting you to curse. Pardon my language, God. I can't explain why some people have experiences and other people don't. I can't explain why I feel things when I pray, and I know when God's voice is in my head. And maybe another part of it is, if you are somebody who is practicing deceitful things, witchcraft, evil things, right? And you are allowing demons into your life, there's probably a haze of demonic activity around you. And you have to work through that. You have to pray first that those demons go away, those strongholds are broken, and those demonic things go away. In Jesus' name. You have to pray that first. You have to pray that first. You have to pray for Jesus to come into your heart and take away the demonic things, the evil things. And if you're one of these people who does witchcraft and tarot cards and stuff like that, you're a human being, and I'm not going to hate on you for that because you're just trying to find a way like everybody else. But those things let demons into your life. And those demons are going to try to tell you that God isn't real. They're going to try to make you feel like they're the only way that you can seek any kind of spirituality. Those demons are going to tell you that they're your grandma, that they're your auntie that passed, your mom, your dad. I'm going to give you an example of something that when my mom first died, I was having dreams about her. And I missed her, so I welcomed those dreams. But I realized that in the Bible it says to be out of the body is to be with the Lord. Or something similar. I don't know the exact verse, but it's something similar. And someone pointed that out to me. And I prayed, and I said, if these dreams are not of you, if these dreams are not from you, God, I don't want them anymore. As much as I miss my mom, and it was nice to see her while I was sleeping, I stopped having those dreams. I have a dream every once in a while that'll be weird and make no sense. But that's because my brain, that's what it does. And sometimes it's what I ate before bed or what I was watching before bed, and I know that. But I was having them really frequently. And I prayed and I said, if these dreams are not from you, then I don't want to have these dreams. And I stopped having them. Because I think it was the devil trying to get in my head and be like, here's your mom, you can talk to your mom again. And that would have been communicating with the dead, and you're not supposed to do that. In one of the dreams, I did run up and hug her. But I knew something was off when I looked back because my mom worked on a certain hallway in the building. We both worked the same place. I still work there. There's 3 wings. It's a nursing home. And she was on one wing when she worked, when she was alive. The dream, I saw her on the other wing. I still ran up to her and hugged her in the dream. But she was confused, she was disoriented, she wasn't talking, And yes, she died of blunt force trauma, ultimately. But looking back, that was something that was off. And because I missed my mother so much, and the devil knew that, and the devil knew the monitoring spirits, they know, because they've watched you throughout your life. They know the name that your Nana called you when you were 4, because they were there. God was there. But they can go back and look and be like, oh yeah, People don't want to believe that. And the devil knew that I missed my mother and that I had regrets about how my relationship with my mother went. And he was trying to use those dreams to get me to do something wrong because I missed my mother. He was also trying to get me to probably fall into depression because I only got to see my mom in my dreams. And I know that someone's going to watch this and they're going to be like, well, I don't care what you went through. I know what I've gone through. And I know. But I'm telling you, you have to pray. First of all, I'm going to tell you, I believe it's Psalms 91. That is a prayer of protection. That you pray to Jesus and you say, in Jesus' mighty name. And I'm going to pray this over anybody that watches this video right now. Even if you've only watched the beginning of this video. So even if you didn't see this part of the video, even if you didn't stay long enough, I'm going to pray in Jesus' mighty name over your life and your family and your household right now that whatever demons, whatever strongholds, whatever evil things are in your life that are keeping you from feeling Jesus when you pray. I'm praying in Jesus' mighty name that they are gone, that they vanish. And I mean that for anybody. Because there's people in my life that have been there for me. But I worry about them. Because I know they're good people. But I don't know exactly what they believe. And I don't want to see them not be, in heaven. Because As much as I want people to go to heaven, I also want to let people understand that I know you have a different life than me, a different experience, a different perspective, and it led you to wherever you are. So this is not judgment. This is caring and knowing that those tarot cards cannot help you, those crystals cannot help you. The demons that are in those things cannot help you. The evil that is in those things that you think is light and love, they will not help you. They will give you what you want temporarily. And if you don't believe me, pay attention to patterns. Something good will happen and then you'll fall right back in. Something good will happen and you'll fall right back in. And I'm saying this from a perspective of somebody who obviously has, and I'm sorry because I don't have tissues or anything. And I didn't expect this to go here. From somebody who has struggled with patterns of wanting to do better and fighting with certain aspects of myself and falling back into it and realizing that if I had read my Bible and talked to God instead of doing A, B, C, or D, even if it's not tarot cards and stuff, because it's not for me, it'll be eating or gossiping or something like that I run to. It doesn't help. The only thing that helps, that gives me real peace, is talking to God. And I know that people think that's nuts. I know people think that's crazy. The second verse I was going to talk about was going to be 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9. And this video is going to be real long, and I apologize. It says, "Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind, And I think that is where I led into the whole Leviticus thing. But yeah, it says these things, and a lot of Bibles talk about the homosexuality instead of the effeminate, but either way, it's there. The other verse I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to move on from 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9, because I kind of covered all that. Galatians chapter 6, verse 7, be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. And this goes back into also the rituals and the things people do. The things that people do. And the evil that people do that they think no one's going to find out about, that they think no one's going to know about, that they think they're never going to have to pay for, they're never going to have to come to terms with, they're never going to have to deal with. They will. There's also parts of the Bible that say the vengeance is the Lord's, which means we're not supposed to seek vengeance ourselves. And I believe that the reason that it says that is because when you seek to do bad, part of you becomes bad. And God doesn't want any part of us to be taken up by bad and evil. And when you seek to do bad against somebody, and I'm guilty of this, I'm guilty of gossiping, I'm guilty of taking my own revenge or whatever. And I look back and I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. Because all it did was make me a little bit more bitter, a little bit more mean, a little bit more spiteful. And I don't want to be that. I really don't. And it also says that God shall not be mocked. It says that man shall soweth what he will reap what he sows, but it also says God will not be mocked, and he won't be. For all the people that you see mocking God on TV and all this, please know that those people are not, they're not living the life that you think they are. They think that they're above God. They think that they're in this place where God can't touch them because they're rich or they're famous. God will make an example of them. He will make an example of them. You guys remember, and I'm going to get a drink of water because, honestly, just kind of a little dried out at the moment. God sees what they're doing behind closed doors. And then they come on TV and they mock him and he thinks, well, I don't know what he thinks, but I'm sure it's not fondly of them. Because he's like, really? You know? These people are not, they're not going to have it good. God's going to make an example of them. And there was something that happened in Brazil, I believe it was. They had this parade where they were mocking God, and then all these natural disasters started happening. I don't believe in coincidences, that's all I'm going to say. The next verse is Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 2. O Lord, I have heard the speech, and this one's about wrath. It was afraid, O Lord, revive thy work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years make known, and wrath remember mercy. Somebody who fears the wrath of God. Somebody who actually respects God and fears God in a way that they know there's going to be wrath. Because there is wrath. The flood. I saw a video, and I didn't even watch the whole thing, where somebody was pointing out that someone was talking about God and then saying, oh, well, ironically, there was a rainbow in the back. To that individual, you know the rainbow was a promise that God was not going to flood the earth again. That doesn't mean he's not going to destroy the earth again. It's just not going to be with water. So every time it rains and there's a rainbow, that means the rain's done. We're not going to have 40 days and 40 nights of rain again. That it was only temporary. And I know I'm going from one place to the other, but so it be. This is also about wrath. It's Matthew chapter 3, verse 7. But when he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees come to, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, come to his baptism, he said unto them, O generation of vipers, who hath warned you to flee from the wrath to come? They came to be baptized because they were told by somebody that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. But it's a whole generation of vipers, so who would be around them that would tell them? Maybe they just heard, maybe they saw the commotion down by the river and were like, what's going on down there? Because another thing about not being in your word and not being, like, talking to God is you go out and you do things, and sometimes you become in contact with people that are a whole group of people that don't know about God. They're not going to ever talk about God. They're not going to ever mention Him. And they're just people, not judging, they're just people. But because they don't talk about God, you don't think about God when you're in their presence. And you just go along with whatever they're doing, and you fall into sin, and you fall into a generation of vipers. You fall into a whole group of people that don't talk about God, don't know about God. And you can either be the one that warns them about the wrath to come and tell them about God, or you can fall in and be part of the vipers. I'm going to stop this video here because it's getting really long. And, sorry about the waterworks. It just hit me like a ton of bricks all of a sudden when I started talking about certain things. It's just wait. God wanted me to get that out of there, you know? So thank you to whoever watched, and God bless you, and may God be with you. I'm not a preacher, I'm not a pastor, I'm not anything special. I'm just a woman in her kitchen that wanted to make a video about God and the Bible. And I really pray that nothing that I've said here today confuses anybody or leads them astray. I really pray that this is received in the right way and that it was understandable. And God bless you.